Personalizing your resume is critical, especially in this job market. It could easily make the difference between the recruiter getting back to you, getting an interview, and not. In this video, I would like to show you a step-by-step how to use tools like ChatGPT to create a much more compelling and personalized resume. This is something that was requested by several of the listeners, so I'll give it a go in this video. Hope you will enjoy it. My name is Itay, and this is Itay on Software.
So let's start with a step-by-step example. I took this position, which is a new grad position, because I thought it's quite interesting. Why is that interesting? It's because it's a new grad, however, it's not really a new grad position. You will see here that there is three things. There is audio specialization, there is AI specialization, and it's also requiring a PhD. So why did I take this position? I'm currently a professor teaching at Cal State Fullerton. I have students that study AI and also have master degree. And I wanted to show how close you can get your resume in order to apply for these positions. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I actually wanted for this demonstration to show not a perfect match. So we can see what's the best that we can do and see if in the end we'll find something compelling. So as you can see, this is a position that's aiming somebody from a PhD. It requires to have research and to evaluate algorithms that are used in related applications. It requires proficiency in C and C++ and deep learning like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras. Again, they are asking for a PhD. However, as I mentioned, will make this session quite interesting. It's looking for somebody detail-oriented and a passion for the Zoom mission. We're going to see later how we are going to use it. This candidate, as you can see, has a master's student from Cal State Fullerton, does not have a PhD, and this candidate also have no experience with audio. Another interesting thing, if you see on the technical skills, is that this candidate is also not focused on AI. Again, what we try to show here is how close can we get to a resume that applies to a position that is clearly a stretch. So let's see. Now, one thing about this candidate says that he's interested in AI. So I took the liberty to see how we can make the best of it. As you can see here in the technical elements and the work experience, again, not everything is focused on AI. There are a couple of projects here related at different levels. For example, here the delivered key contributions to billing workflows. Not sure exactly how this would fit. And there is also a section with a couple of projects. So this is a new grad from a master degree that does not have a PhD or signal processing experience. So let's see what we can do.
So now I would like to show you the process that I've used to recreate the resume in a way that's going to be personalized for this PhD audio AI position. So the first step that I've used is to take the job application and extract the requirements from it. Now, why do we do that? We do that because we would like to improve as much as possible how much we meet those requirements, and as a result, it's better to see those requirements listed. So I've showed you the position. We're going to say extract the requirement. And ChatGPT here, by the way, you can use Gemini or use any other type of LLM, have extracted it. You see there is direct requirements, age, education. There is the technical skills that were extracted. Some personal attributes, responsible, self-motivated, and some indirect requirements according to this. So let's continue. Now, those requirements in a position, you could, of course, invest more time or basically minimize some requirements that might be less applicable. for example, like apply company policies and procedures to resolve a variety of issues. But again, for the purpose of the demonstration of how we create a resume, let's do it. The second part is we have those requirements, okay? So we want to see how the resume fits those requirements. Now, why this is important? This is important because you want to make sure that where your resume is missing information, or you can take some actions to make your resume more compelling, then you should do it. So here I said, please score those bullets according to the information contained in the resume. Of course, I picked the age. We don't need that. We know you're probably 18 plus. And add the achievements for those requirements where possible to capture success. This is the point where we're trying to start building out the data set to recreate a resume from. So we continue again, just pasting the information. Okay? So you can see here a PhD, 2 out of 5, you don't have a PhD, you have a master. Again, that might be a deal breaker, but we are going for a stretch position, and that's perfectly fine. That makes this session more interesting. If it was a perfect match, then it's too easy. Technical skills, C++. As expected, this person have no real-time speech-related model optimization experience, right? And they are interested in potentially a PhD level of this. Audio signal processing, again. But this student does have some experience with deep learning. We can see how we can enhance it. So the audio is our weak spot. We'll see later what we can do. Personal attributes, and again, some work experience related information. I will post this script in the comments so you can go through it in your free time. Now here's the changes that I noticed. On education, the students, that was this, has done maybe a couple of courses. So we could say, I've done AI Fundamentals PhD level course. Now, this is to say, do not lie ever in your resume. However, when you see that something is missing, it's perfectly legit to take courses. If you really want to go for AI and you see that gap, please do complete this information and take a PhD level course. You can do that. On the technologies, one of the things that people do quite commonly is to put the technologies in isolation from the projects that they've done. Okay? So you want to make sure that in the datasets you know which project was used for those technologies. I also added that I do not have speech, but I've done video processing for Tomato. This is something that I noticed. Speech is not like video, but video from a purpose of a stream processing could potentially be positioned as something close. Another thing that I added here is, again, there are a lot of Coursera courses. If this is your dream job, go for it. Make that extra effort. Potentially in few days, you can make a course, you can personalize your resume using that and show that you are serious. So please do that, especially if you're applying to a cluster of position. Okay? One more thing is that I noticed is because the tomato plants analysis here that was part of the resume had AI. So ask me some questions. Maybe we can do it better. Also, it says that it needs to align with the Zoom mission. I'm not really sure what the Zoom mission is from this posting, so I said, ask me some questions, see what we'll come up with. I said that I did use neural network algorithm in one of those projects, so please do ask me a question about this. I have not worked on audio in corporate setting, so I don't have that type of experience. And say, okay, I really want this role. So maybe after seeing this role, I took maybe a week and I prototyped an audio processing system on the phone that can practice maybe acting lines. I just made up a project, but remember, those projects potentially is something that you can do. And maybe you can select the voice and tone. This is to show you that when you are being proactive about your resume, you can actually add things that are missing. Yes, you will not have a PhD in a course of a couple of weeks of investment, but potentially in a few months or even a few weeks, you can do something to get you closer. That might not get you the job. Again, it's a stretch position, but could potentially put you for consideration. So the PhD advanced degree is here. The technical skills, you see the PhD has improved a bit in the score. The experience with real-time speech-related model optimization moved from nothing to some achievement. At this job market, which is very difficult, and at a company, a brand like Zoom, that's probably not going to be enough. But again, in a better job market and potentially a company that's a bit less branded, they might be flexible. We talked about strong knowledge of real-time audio communication models, which is probably not that, but maybe it would be interesting enough. And we talked about some personal attributes. Okay. And let's go down. Okay. Then it asked me a couple of questions here. Sorry. Tomato plant disease project. Can you provide more details on the specific methodologies and technologies? Remember about this process. As you can see, till this point, I have not said anything about the resume rewrite. I'm building the data set. I will write the resume later. I'm building the data set to make the match between the position and the resume. And this process can be used for your resume as well. So then there is a couple of questions here to further the resume, tomato plant disease project, Zoom missions, we can talk about that. We'll see natural network algorithms, provide more information, and audio processing prototype. Now, again, this is for demonstration. I also don't have this information, so I've done my best. So I said the problems were the availability of quality data. That's often the problem. That was for the tomato. So I had to avoid overfitting and take out outlier, use standard methodology for this. And then I said the person who wrote the resume is not here, so be creative. Again, when you're doing that, you will know what you can do. And if you want, you can also add experience proactively. But for this purpose of this demonstration, I said be creative. I copied the Zoom values below and said just take it from my resume examples. And on 3.4, I said, I'm not sure. Person wrote it is not here. Write something that makes sense. Okay? Then it continues. As you can see, there is this process where we're building the dataset to make us a better match. Okay? As then you can see here, the additional information says methodologies, technologies, develop an application using CNN, TensorFlow, Fast API, Postman for web aptitude testing, some challenges, some of the outcome. Okay, now we are going to start the different section. So what I want to create at resume, I would highly suggest for this personalized resume to write about me. Why? Because you're clearly a stretch candidate. When you're a stretch candidate, you need the equivalent of either an about me or a cover letter that kind of makes sure that you're not just applying by accident or just kind of spraying and praying. A lot of people and companies know that, especially in a tough job market, would apply to 1,000 positions. So just make sure that it looks a bit kind of fit. So as you can see here, it says, I'm dedicated and highly skilled engineer with a master's in computer science, enriched hands-on experience developing innovative machine learning and audio processing solution, right? Potentially I would tune it down a bit, but if that person actually have a project, they can say that they have hands-on experience with that. Proficiency in C++ and Python, which was mentioned, and advanced knowledge of deep learning libraries like TensorFlow, which was done for multiple projects. Strong foundation in audio signal processing. This is probably a stretch. I don't know if I would write that. Again, don't trust everything that you get from ChatGPT or from Gemini. go and evaluate. What's interesting here is that it gives us some some information that we can start to work with. So you can see this about me, okay? Passionate about leveraging technology and creating impactful solution, being proactive, self-motivated. You can see this is a compelling about me. What is not true, please fix and remove. And if you see something that you really like, but it's not there yet, try and find a way to add it. So what does it mean? Let's say, for example, that you want to write that you have hands-on experience with audio processing, but you don't. So you have here three options. You can lie, which I always say do not do that. It could be extremely humiliating and it's unethical. You can remove it, or you can just get that experience, right? Remember that if you're a student and if you have time and you're really focusing on an industry, you can do that. So just do it. Okay. The next one here is, so this about me, you see, it's starting to be there. Again, the students was not there to have a conversation with, but for the purpose of this demonstration, that will be good enough. Now I said, write work experience resume section, okay? Skip what doesn't help to demonstrate fit. This is something important. Don't add things you haven't done, but if you've done something that's irrelevant, just delete it for the purpose of just talking about what's relevant. It's also often shows that you care more about certain things because those are the things that you choose to highlight. Be concise yet easy to understand. Ask me questions if you're not sure. Include university projects here, but show the dates. That's another thing. When a lot of people, they include university projects, it's very unclear if it was like a week or if it was a year. So please do that. And give more relevant projects more space, and less relevant projects less space. And drop the less relevant projects because we, don't need them. So there is a teaching assistant. It was selected to pick it. Why? Because it's Python, C++. If you taught Python, if you've done tutoring, maybe you have some good experience. Research assistant 1 and 2. Now, why this was highlighted? This is not a PhD, but it is a research assistant. Again, it's a stretch, a bit of luck, a bit of good market, good reference, maybe a company that less brand that a lot of people apply to, and you might make it. You can see here manage assembly application of 1500 FPGA and achievements, right? Data collection initiatives using Selenium, integrating LLM generated data to boost model accuracy by 20%, achieving an 85% success rate. Now, why is this important to include those achievements? What this 20% and 85% actually tells people? They don't always know what it means. However, it shows that you are results oriented, and that means something, even more than this 20 or 85%. Then a software engineer intern, you can see, contributed to the building workflow project, develop and optimize software solution, user engagement. Personally, I would delete it because I think it takes out from the rest of the project. So that is one reason. Second, it overlaps, so it makes the rest of the project look maybe less focused. So I would delete that. But again, it's not perfect, and we will do our best. Then there is the university project. You see, developing an application using CNN and TensorFlow, detect tomatoes disease, prototype audio processing system, and some other thing, moving dataset analysis using Hadoop, PySpark jobs. Okay, now we say write the education section. One thing I notice, a lot of people, like, sometimes they will do GPA in a non-standard way. Just do GPA in a standard way. You can also, if you really care about something, as I say, like in AI, and you are in an academic setting, you can take PhD level courses, you could do more. You don't necessarily have to do that from your university. You could potentially do it from other places. Okay, now let's write the technical skills. In the technical skills, one of the most important things is to remove irrelevant skills for the position. Why? Because it just kind of looks like a grocery list, like you just threw everything. Also, people know, you're a student, you graduate, there's no way you've done all of this. So focus on what matters and what is a fit. This is audio signal processing, tools and platforms. As you can see here, even this is a lot. Like for example, me personally, I would have dropped Hadoop. I don't think it's relevant. ChatGPT, not perfect. This is what we got. And then I say, okay, now write the full resume, single page, has education followed by work experience. There is a PDF export. I wasn't able to do it with a template that was good enough. So you can just copy it into your sections. So you can see here, John Doe, the education section, similar, just made some small fixes. In the end, I'll show the comparison. You can see here work experience. You can see here the 1 and 2, software engineer, university projects, prototype audio processing system, movie dataset using Hadoop, technical skills. You see Python, a bit more focused than before. And now we're going to do show side by side, where possible, the diffs from the original resume. Okay. So now we can see side by side how the new resume compares with the old resume. We'll see what big changes were made. Okay. So, completed an AI fundamentals PhD level course for credit online at Stanford. So this is something that was added. This was something that is identified that it could help that person as they apply to AI. Couple of other things that were changed here is that this research assistant 1 and 2 became much more concise, and also focusing here on boost model accuracy by 20%, achieving 90%. Another thing here is that you can see that the software engineering intern got reduced. Remember we talked about this billing workflow? You can see here that this section was smaller because, as I mentioned, it's maybe less relevant for the position that we are applying to. In general, if something is more relevant, you want to write more on. If something is less relevant, you want to apply less on. Instead of project, they decided to go with university project. Maybe okay. Here, this is the tomato plant disease classification. You can see here, again, concise, using CNN, TensorFlow to detect tomato diseases, 97% accuracy, right? Look at a couple of things that were reduced, that were removed here. I don't see Postman. I don't see Fast API server. I don't see web output testing. A bit more focus on what's needed. Then there is the prototype audio processing system. What we said, if this person really want to create like some audio experience and apply to a position with audio experience, it's best to just build something and try something. Today, with tools again like Gemini and ChatGPT, is not that difficult. Just go and do it. And as you can see, the Wordle game was dropped just because it was less relevant. Here you can see the movie data set analysis using Hadoop. Still decided to keep it, kind of PySpark jobs, data accuracy, seems related, but trim that section. On the technical skills, you can see things that were not listed as important, like say JavaScript, which is more for web, or PHP, not really relevant for this, so they were removed. You can see a bit more information here. Audio signal processing that was completely out has appeared. This is critical, of course. This is, again, not a PhD level, somebody who's done audio signal processing, but if that person has done a project, can list it. Fair game is anything on your resume is a fair game. So what it means, if you write it, know that people could potentially grill you on it, especially if this position is for audio. However, if you feel that you've done the experience, that you feel comfortable writing it, then you should. I've seen people at science fair where they're truly an expert at something that they've done a project on in a level that would be comparable with somebody who's researched a topic. And a new section appeared here, data processing, which extracted some things like PySpark and FPGA from the resume. Web development is here. Personally, I would delete it, but I don't know, it's here. And research and development shows that it could do model evaluation and optimization for this position. Now, the gaps in this position, just to summarize, are very large. So, you won't complete a 4-year PhD in signal processing gap by doing a couple of projects and maybe a course. However, for the purpose of this demonstration, you can be quite close. And if it's something that interests you, you can always find a position that is potentially a bit more flexible. There are many companies that will do audio processing, maybe a company a bit less prestige, and then you will be able to do it. And once you have that experience, then go and apply for this Zoom position. So I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. Remember, the resume itself that was created is not perfect, but the purpose was to show you the process. You can take a position, break down to requirement, see how your resume fits to it, see if there are gaps. If you miss something in the resume, add it. If there is something that you can add by just spending a week or 2 or 3 and you're really interested in that position, do it. Especially if this is for a cluster of positions. Then you can continue improving the resume. Write an about me if it's not very obvious that you're the perfect candidate for this position, or just in general about me is useful. Write your experience, put that in the PDF, and there you go. Hopefully you find this useful. If you liked it, please like the video, subscribe, and share with your friends who might benefit to it. Thank you very much.